painting, I've noticed that I've taken the wing up a little bit too far, so I'm going to fix that on my sketch layer, and then I'm going to show you guys some blocking. Come in, my eraser, and this is why it's so important, guys, to work on a different layer than your background, because otherwise I would be erasing my black too, and then it's just going to be a pain in the butt. I'm going to use my eyedropper tool to get that same color again. Come back over here. So now I know that I want that wing to end kind of around here, especially since I've drawn my head in, and that'll give me a little more guidance for as I pull it in here. That looks a little bit better. And now I can bring it down, and this part actually comes out farther, so I can erase that little tiny line right up in here and make my brush smaller. Okay, it's a decent start. Alright, I'm actually going to block underneath in a lighter color so you can see how I do this, but you can go over top, doesn't really matter. And I'm going to just start again with a hard brush. I tend to do my edges and my shading in soft brush. So let's see. Now I'm going to really start paying attention to the color shifts. I'm going to start up here. And what else might be useful? The cranes are really sharp, angular subjects, so I'm actually going to make my brush a little bit squished. I'm using this arrow point and these circles to rotate and squeeze it. It's a nice way of changing your brush size so that you're not erasing a ton of different stuff. I'm just going to come in and start painting that. Fill in that shape. Okay. Now, again, I'm going to go to my eyedropper tool. This one might be a little bit different down here. And I'm paying attention again to the shapes I see in the folds. So this is coming right up to that really dark line. And there's a line down the center I'm going to need to be careful of. I'm going to adjust my brush here because it's going a different way. And I've kind of lost the crispness of this shape because of my lovely, lovely painting, but we're going to get that back by painting in the different shapes of the shadows. Don't need that. Go away. And I want this to come out further towards more of a point. That one in. And I'm actually going to go up a little bit lighter and get closer to that light color. If I can't get it exactly, I can come into my color picker and start to sketch it in. I might want to do this with a soft brush because it's the light hitting here. There we go. Kind of, sort of. And then I can make that softer. I'm going to come in and pull this purple color up my brush, and I'm going to start to drop the opacity as I shade stuff. What that does is it lets me blend a little bit better. So this is what my opacity looks like dropped on top of my picture. If I go to 100%, it's going to look very different. You're not going to be able to see any of that red shining through. We do want the red. We want it to blend. So I'm going to drop that. Maybe work with a smaller brush, and I'm just painting this edge in. And the nice thing about opacity is it builds up as you continue. I'm going to trim this edge off a little bit, and I can actually get rid of my sketch layer once I have everything blocked in, and then I'll go in and refine those edges. A couple other things I need to do include blocking this one in. Make sure I'm on the right layer. And you'll see, because I forgot to turn my opacity up, that red looks a lot darker than it actually is because it's transparent and see through to the black. We don't quite need that, so I'm going to just bump it back up to 100. Filling that in. I'm going to start this soft shadow down here with the fold. It's actually a combination of very dark red and a little bit of black. I'm going to size my brush down for this. And just kind of gently. Guess we need to go darker. A little bit darker. And the eyedropper tool is more of a guide for you. Oh, the reason it's not showing up is because of my sketch lines. We're actually going to drag this above. There we go. And I can darken this up. I can zoom in, Command plus, to get over here and see a little bit better what I'm doing. And I can fade this opacity out on the edges. Make sure it's not quite so drastic. I can also come in with the other color and blend over it, just to make that a little bit smoother. Trim it down a bit. I'm going to go back to that darker color and go even darker, even smaller to paint that fold line in. And if I want now, I can do my click shift to get that perfectly straight line. We're on our way.